Hi, Dawn.
Hiya.
Hi. Do you have any background, Dawn, in Vedic astrology or?
No, not in Vedic astrology now.
Okay. So you're welcome to join our Telegram group, and you will see a lot of the links and as well as a lot of discussion. And not just that, there is also you can get on the YouTube for all our lessons for the past 1 year.
Thank you.
There's a whole channel there going, so feel free. All the previous lessons are uploaded there.
Right.
So, welcome on board. And so today we do like one of the great Dasha systems. This is sort of like a very fundamental, but yet very vital and very important. And in a way, it's sort of it's more philosophical, the Dasha system, and it is pretty much intertwined, at least from the Jyotish point of view. It's pretty much intertwined with our normal workings of our human life, our various stages where we are at. So let's just to quickly cover. Last time I think we did the yoga karikas, all the all who's a yoga karika for what. And I don't want to go too much into detail, but we all know malefic, Sun, Saturn, Mars, um, full moon, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus are stronger in their ascending order. These are the benefics, while a weak moon, Sun, Saturn, Mars are stronger in more malefic disposition in the ascending order. Hence, Mars becomes quite malefic or very strongly malefic. So this is like a general overall rule for natural beneficence and maleficence of each planet. Then we have I think I don't want to go too much into it because we covered so much of it. I'm going to definitely upload the video. I'm so sorry, it's just gone crazy the past this summer. But the one fundamental rule in evaluating what yogas you have in the chart, and I'm going to keep repeating this till it really sinks in for everyone, is the fundamental rule of the lord of the kendras and the lord of the kona. If you have any interaction, any exchange, any sort of you know conjunction, or they are angular to each other, then it is sort of fantastic. And one born in such a yoga will become a king and be famous. Now, again, there are many, many variations to this. There is also something known as the Raja Yogada, that is the Yogada planet. Yogada is the yoga giver, that is which is a positive thing, a yoga giver. So the yogada planet, we have many ways of calculating it. And again, it comes from the lagna, you calculate it. Then there are other additional arud lagnas, which is like the maya, that is how people appear. So you may feel differently inside, but how you are viewed by the world, and what is the aspect which is going to be brought out in the world, as far as you're concerned, is nothing but the Arud Lagna. And this is an extremely vital point in the chart, extremely. And this calculations are simple, but I am, again, this is the purview, it's kind of a little bit more into the advanced side. So people who join the beginners to intermediate group, they are welcome, because they will get all of this in depth. So that is how we calculate the yogada planet. And so it is not just simply suffice to say, hey, I've got this yoga of the ninth and the 10th. We need to know when it will fructify, when it will mature, how long will it last, what are those planets, what are the karaka of that yoga, and whether that yoga is happening from the moon also, moon chart, as well as lagna, that is ascendant. There are many, many variations, many things that one needs to ascertain before we make a judgment of, hey, I've got this yoga, fantastic, but hey, I'm still struggling. So it is not as straightforward. But once you get the hang of the fundamental rules and then start to build on those rules, then things become a lot easier. Okay. So let's go into the dashas a little bit, the planetary periods, which are absolutely unique to the Vedic Vedanga Jyotish. I do not think there is any system. Maybe Egyptian has their own planetary periods, and but that is kind of very, it's not as vast. And in terms, and Western astrology probably has no equivalent. Perhaps maybe the progressions, but even that, not really. And zodiacal releasing, yeah, but again, the zodiacal releasing is, we have very definitive yoga, definitive dasha for that. It's called the Sudarshana Dasha, which is an extremely powerful planetary system, extremely powerful. And Sudarshan literally means the discus of Lord Vishnu. He's always holding a discus, and it's called the Sudarshan Chakra. And that particular Sudarshan Dasha shows that what is your remit, what are you going to get, what are the fruits, what is your big, huge karmas that you will go through this lifetime. And it is pretty much like house to house system. So we have various classifications for the dasha periods, sorry, the dashas systems. One are the graha dashas, that is, which take into account all the planets only. Some of them, like Vimshottari, who's like the king of the dashas, and it is definitely, as Parashara says, for most appropriate, most common for the general population. Now, what you need to remember also with Vimshottari, as we go advanced into it, is that depending on where your moon is, because Vimshottari is a predominantly calculated from the moon nakshatra, and wherever the placement of your moon nakshatra, which house it is in, has a huge part to play. That the Vimshottari calculation will change according to that, but that is again advanced. We have many different kinds of Vimshottari. Then you have another variation of the Vimshottari, where if you're born in the full moon, that is from a new moon to the full moon, that is the the Shukla Paksh, then a certain Vimshottari will apply. And if you are born from Krishna Paksh to Shukla Paksh, that is from the full moon to the new moon, then you will have to reverse the Vimshottari Lord's period. So these are many, many variations. Like I said, it's for the advanced, we won't go into that. We first need to begin with some of the very fundamental, but not unimportant. They have a huge place in all the dasha systems. So other dashas are like Ashtotri, Shadoshtri, Dashoshtari, Panchotri, Shatabdik, Chaturshiti Sama, Dvi Saptati Sama. So the Shashti Hayani. So these are all kind of various dashas we use. Like Dvashottari is, Dvadoshatri is, and Panchotri. They have various uses, even Ashtotri. If you have, like in your Navamsha Lagna, if your rising is Libra, Lavamsha Lagna is Libra, or Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, then this particular Dvadashotri will apply. And let's say if you have like Rahu in angular to your Lagna Lord, then Ashtotri will apply. We have many, many rules. I'm just giving you kind of like very bare bone basic ones. Then we have the Dvi Saptapti Sama, which is another particular dasha where if you have the Lagna Lord in the seventh house or the seventh Lord in the Lagna, that is on your ascendant, then you will have the Dvi Saptati Sama dasha will apply. Then if you have Sun in Lagna, then Shashti Hayani dasha will apply. So there are many, many, like I said, this is a vast subject, many dashas are there, but this is, I'm just showing you that we have like nakshatra dashas, rashi dashas, as well as like Narayan dasha, who's like absolutely the king, and it is as good and at par with Sudarshan dasha. It is a rashi dasha, Narayan. It follows like the various signs in your chart. It typically begins from the Lagna or the seventh house, whichever is stronger. And so again, those have to be evaluated in many different ways. So moving on, the other kinds of dashas propagated by the sages are Chara, Sthira Dasha, Kendra Dasha, Karaka Dasha, Brahma Dasha, Dasha, Manduka Dasha, Shul Dasha. Shul Dasha is often used for evaluating. It's a very simple dasha. It's like 9 years for each sign. And you start either from the Lagna or the seventh house, depending on whichever is stronger. And it is to do with death or death like experiences where you will face and things like that. So again, like I said, this is many we have Yogini Dasha, Pinda Dasha, Naisargika, which is what we are going to do, which is a natural, Naisargika is like a natural dasha, Sandhya, Pachaka, Tara. Again, like I said, it can go on and on, so now, typically the Vimshotri, those who are not familiar, I'm not going to teach you Vimshotri because Vimshotri will take like it's like a 2-3 day thing. Vimshotri is e- even though it is the most commonly used, most commonly used and most appropriate, you cannot do anything without Vimshotri. Absolutely nothing, but the variations and teaching how to calculate it is beyond the course purview. But beginning from Kritika, it's good to mention it because I would encourage you to see the calculations of your, when you got married, when you had a relationship, when you moved country. Have a look at what Vimshotri was doing then, what a sub period or antardasha you were at, because that will have a lot of say in what is going on. Okay. Uh, so again, the Vimshotri Dasha is if the nakshatras from Kritika to the Janma nakshatra are divided by 9, remainder will signify the Lord of the commencing Dasha. And the remaining Dashas will be Grahas in the order. Again, calculation, I'm going to kind of like skip all of that. In Kali Yuga, the natural lifespan of human being is generally taken as 120 years. We even have a calculation why we arrived at the 120 years. Therefore, Vimshotri Dasha is considered to be the most appropriate and best of all dashas, which indeed it is. So, but I would encourage you really to have a very close look at um, in the software about, in your own charts. Now, and typically, this is very important that you got to know that typically the dasha periods of the sun are 6 for Chandras, for Vimshotri, but this is used quite often in a lot of other places as well. Chandra planetary period is 10 years, Mars is 7, Rahu is 18. This is quite natural because Rahu's, transit is for 18 years. It goes, flips back to its original, the nodal axis. For Guru, it is 16 years. For Shani, it is 19. Budh, it is 17 years. Ketu is 7 years, which is also by the Vedic numerology is 7 years, and for Shukra it is 20 years. So Venus is the longest, 20 long years of Venus, again the sequence, depending on what your moon nakshatra, what is ruled by. Maybe your moon nakshatra, you were born in Ketu, ruled by Ketu. Maybe your moon is in Ashwini, or maybe your moon is in, let's say, Mula. So then Ketu will be the ruler of your birth nakshatra. So your dasha, Vimshotri dasha, will begin with Ketu, which is 7 years. But again, the Antardasha will be given by how far the moon has traversed within the Mula nakshatra, which is ruled by Ketu. So those are, they are not difficult calculations, but you have to spend time in doing them. So then we come to the Naisargika Dasha, which is Naisargika is literally means the natural way, the natural, the natural way of how occurrence of events as blessed by nature. So that is literally what the meaning of Naisargika means. And here Parashara has said, oh Brahmin, there are two kinds of effects of dashas, general and distinctive. The natural characteristics of planets cause the general effects, and the distinctive effects are realized by their placements. So so there are two multifold way of seeing it. One is like by default, planets, natural planets, or natural age in which the planet you are in, which is signified by the planet, will give its effect. And plus the specific placements and the specific other dashas will lend its color on top. So you cannot say which one is stronger, because the Naisargika is like an underlying dasha. It will always be, it is very powerful a dasha. You can make a lot and lot of very detailed predictions with just Naisargika dasha. So the effects of the dashas of the planets are in accordance with their strength. So you have to always remember, we come back to the yogas and how strong the planets are, and all of those rules will apply, because otherwise we would be lost. We would be like, okay, I'm in my Venus period, but Venus is not going to be obviously the same for everyone. It's even if somebody goes through, let's say, a Venus transit or a Saturn transit to the moon, I mean, this is a little bit kind of different from a remarkably different from the Western astrology, where you look at the transits and make an assessment. You can't make an assessment like that. You can't say, hey, my Saturn is traversing my moon. I'm having the transit of Saturn to my sun or moon, and so loads of people will have that, millions will have that transit. So does that mean like everybody will have the same effect? No, not at all, absolutely not. Even though the moon may be in the same sign, and 1/12 of the planet will have the moon placement in the same sign, does not mean the results will be the same. No way, guaranteed. So there is so much, it depends on where the moon is, the effects of the planet in first dreshkana. I think we did the dreshkana at least in the lodge, as an extra talk. I realized at the commencement of the dasha, planet in second dreshkana makes its effects felt in the middle, and of course the third one is in the you all know, like the 30 degrees are split into 10 degrees each, which is nothing but the first dreshkana, second, and the third. And so the effects of the planet in the third dreshkana, so if you have a planet from 20 degrees to 30 degrees, that's the third dreshkana, and they will be experienced at the end of the dasha. But the caveat is there's many sort of alterations as well. Let's say the planet is in Pisces. Now remember, a few months ago we said head rising. Pisces is head rising as well as hind rising. And So if you have, let's say, a planet in Pisces and you're entering the dasha, so, and it is in the third half of it, the third dreshkana. So not only are you going to just experience at the end of the dasha, but because Pisces will give its results throughout its head rising as well as hind rising, so it will give the effects almost, at any point. So that is how you have to make an assessment. And if the planet is retrograde, then gets it even more complicated, because then you have to reverse it, this particular rule. So that is how you need to evaluate. And the dasha effects of Rahu and Ketu are always retrograde, will always be realized in the reverse order. The effects are favorable if at the commencement of the dasha lord is in lagna, is in exaltation. Well, of course, because these are the positions of its strength. It's in lagna, it's in exaltation, in own sign, or a shanta rashi. Shanta rashi is like calm, and like Pisces or Cancer, all those are beneficial rashis. The results are unfavorable if the dasha lord is in the sixth house, eighth house, or the 12th, or in its debilitation, or in its enemy sign or inimical rashi. So if you have Jupiter in, let's say, I think to an extent, Jupiter in Virgo is kind of very uncomfortable there. Jupiter in Capricorn, well, of course, it is debilitated there, but it's also in an inimical Rashi. So, it's not going to be happy there. So, moving on, when we talk of the Naisargika, we talk about the natural evolution of planets. That is, what stage we are at, that planet will rule our life. And this comes to very much in relevance, and it's connected with all the worlds of stage. This is from Shakespeare, and it is all to do with the seven ages of man. And this is a beautiful, everybody must be familiar with this. This is like one of his most famous verses. All the worlds of stage, and all the men and women merely its players, and they have their exits and their entrances. One man in his time plays many parts, his acts being seven ages. So then he carries on with saying, at first infant, mewling and puking in nurse's arms. Now that is such a beautiful, I mean, what a genius, what a literary giant. To just so simply, that is the 0 to 1 years, the infant mewling and puking in nurse's arms, and then the whiny whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail unwillingly to school. I mean, this is so beautiful. So he continues with describing the seven different stages. And then the sixth stage shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all. Um, and then it ends finally, very beautifully, that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness, and mere oblivion, sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. So essentially, really, without eyes, without teeth, without any kind of taste, without anything. And he's literally describing Saturn and its old age. I mean, that really is pretty remarkable. What a genius of a man. And so that is not very far away from the Vedic perspective. Here we see, Saravali, one of the texts, give us this shloka: the moon, Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Sun, Saturn, and Lagna, in that order, furnish the periods of the Naisargika Dasha. So, seven or eight stages have been identified in this natural process, which is akin to the seven stages of man, which we just heard Shakespeare discuss. So, again, the baby stage is 0 to 1 years, which is the Karkatva is life, birthing, mother, infancy, but the guna is very sattvic guna. Uh, it's I mean, the baby is kind of, there's a very strong sense of innocence with the baby, so hence the guna has to be very sattvic, and that is the rule by the moon. Of course it has to be ruled by the moon. It's like super innocent, eager to burst. It's kind of like almost sort of, it's at the totally at the mercy of the mother. So so this is a very beautiful, kind of a very vital stage here. Then the second one we come to is the child, the growth of the physical body. Strength is the highest during the period, the bones begin to harden. Focus during this stage is physical independence. Mars symbolizes this stage of growth, being perfect brahmachari. Now, unlike the Western, in the Vedic view of Mars, is he is the warrior. He is the warrior to the, he's like the Senapati. He is literally the commander in chief to the king and the king's army. So he is a brahmachari. He is at beck and call in the army to be able to fight at a drop of a hat. So he doesn't have a life, he doesn't have a personal life. Hence, Mars is often Narsimha Dev, who's the who epitomizes Mangal or Mars, is often shown as somebody who is brahmachari, that is, who's eternally celibate. And hence, Mars is absolutely, it's unthinkable for Mars to get involved in matters of like sexuality and things like that. In fact, they are quite ill at ease. It's like young engineering men, students who kind of like always ogling at women and things like that, because they are completely ill at ease. That's how the Mars energy operates. It's on a very fundamental level, it's celibate. It's austere, it just has to fight, and that's all it knows. And so it ensures, so the thoughts ensures that the thoughts of sexuality are not to enter the mind, which is a terrible twos. And so 1 to 3 is energy growth, and of course the guna is tamasic guna, because you're kind of all over the place. You throw temper tantrums, you want this, you want that, you want, the milk is not right, all kinds of like you're colicky, and all kinds of stuff happens at that stage. Then we come to the third stage, which is a Mercury stage, which is literally age 3 to 12, which is Rajas Guna. And it spans about 9 years. So there is great learning, educational pursuits, play, games, fun. So hi, hello. Hi, guys. So there's youth, adolescence, post pubescent period is about to begin, and puberty starts a series of chemical hormonal reaction, but that is the Venus stage. But before that, the Mercury stage is very much sort of like discovering, and lot of studies, and a lot of like often in India they do the sacred thread ceremony for boys is done at this age between 3 to 12, and it's very very sacred in terms of like they are initiated into the Gayatri mantra around this time. So this is a Mercury stage, and this is very much into learning, and it lays the foundation for years and years. Literally all the knowledge and learning is sort of the foundation lies within this stage. And then we have the Venus stage naturally following the Mercury stage, which is all about discovery of one's body, about one's sexuality, opposite sex, and they are again 20 years, just like the Vimshottari Dasha period. It lasts for that long, from ages 12 to 32. And it's all about love, marriage, maturity. You're not try maturity. I don't mean like, oh, you're very wise and mature. No, not at all. This is a completely a time of discovery. That is why it is often said in the Vedic times the best time for a woman to have children is these ages. In the olden days, like my grandmother and all that, started at very early, as soon as they were able to have children, as in like their menstrual cycle, which is around like 12, anytime 11, 12 to 14, 15. They literally were married off, and then it was then that they had like started the whole journey of having babies. And because that was an ideal time. Venus rules Shukra in as Parashara says, Shukra rules the male semen. So it rules those. So that is very strong in those ages. So ideally, you want all that sexuality, marriage, all that love to culminate in sort of the creative product of having and bearing children. So that is really the best time, because your children born during that these ages will really do you well. And and we will come to see why it is best to have children here, not earlier, definitely not earlier, and definitely not later. And of course it's ruled by Rajas Guna. And the thing with Venus is that it is symbolizes learning. Now it is a Mercurial learning is very different to the Venus learning. Venus is the Daitya Guru or Asura Guru, that is, he's the lord of the Asuras. And so he teaches the knowledge necessary for survival in this material world. And a lot of the focus is on mundane subjects, knowledge focus. So it's very strong Rajas Guna. Arts, crafts, photography, everything, all of that, all kinds of science, and commerce, all of that will come under the purview of, in terms of like, which is leads to betterment of your quality of life. That is ruled by knowledge. That is ruled by Venus, that sort of knowledge. And in the later stage, that matures into marriage and parenthood, of course children are still babies, very young, spouse is still very physically attractive. Physicality dominates thinking, and wisdom is yet to dawn. So yes, and but the physical growth is complete by this time. You've kind of settled down with whatever, your puppy fat is gone, and all of that is so this is a very, very vital stage. And like I said, it is best to have children at this age. And then we come to the Jupiter stage, which is following from Venus's, which is 12 to 32. And from 32 onwards is Jupiter stage, which is to do with maturity, wisdom, expanded knowledge. The children have kind of become very much independent. They have learned, they are walking, they're probably in college for some, they are, fairly independent. And then of course the physical attraction from the spouse is going to decrease, and it is replaced hopefully by respect for sharing, emotional support. Relationships are, of course, you're going to look deeper. Am I compatible with them? A lot of divorces happen around this time because you are not getting the Akash Tattva. For a relationship to sustain, any relationship to sustain, and more so in a long term marriage like relationship, you need a very strong Jupiter. Akash Tattva has to be strong to keep both the people together. Otherwise, it's not going to be lasting at all. You're going to question, if all you're going to do is like physically, oh, I'm attracted to her, but that is invariably, that intensity is going to wear off. And once that wears off, you need that backing of the Jupiter, that Akash Tattva, the ether element, to sort of help you out. And if Jupiter doesn't come through, then you are pretty much kind of like, you're going to say, I'm out of here. This is not working for me, you know. So you need that kind of a spouse who will not just support you through the Venus Venusian stage, which is very nice and a lot of activity and flurry of things, but you want someone as a spiritual guide and guru who will bail you out with his sensible wisdom and knowledge and expansion. He will expand your horizons. You ideally, you want a man or a woman, if you're a, vice versa, to be like that for you, and of course you yourself to have that sort of, the spouse should have that kind of confidence in you, so it works both ways, indeed. So, and this stage is literally 18 years, which is little 2 years less than Venus, starting at the age 32 till about age 50. And this is definitely sattva guna. Why sattva? Because that is, Jupiter is akash tattva, it's very strong. You're not that concerned with money and all of that. You're more concerned with, um at this stage, you're more concerned with what works on a very spiritual level, what works on a very sort of, what is, how is my horizons getting expanded, and this is maturity and wisdom. So this is a very, very vital stage. If you have a strong Jupiter, this stage will be absolutely beautiful. Then we come to the elder stage, right? Which is the adult and elder. So you're no more an adult, but you're kind of moving towards an elderly figure. Children have grown and flown the nest, and the spouse is there, but the relationship has gone beyond the physical level, of course. But see, the thing is, you may make a lot of mistakes in the Venus stage, right? Venus stage, because it's Asura, and because it is the guna is rajas guna, where you're always wanting more and more, and better car, better, nicer, bigger house with a big garden, or blah blah blah, all of that is Venus stage. But the thing is, you may have made a lot of mistakes, created negative karmas, offended people, you've kind of like, really hurt people. All of that then will, this is the time to make amends for that. So the sun period, by the time the sun period comes at this stage, age 50 to 70, is your dharma. What is your dharma? Because what, depending on whether you've done your dharma properly, whether you have been true to yourself and to what you were meant on this planet to do and put on this planet to do, if you've been true to that, then your this stage will be absolutely superb. If you have a debilitated sun in Rashi and Navamsha, then this stage may just bring up a little bit of ouch. This is not ouch, this is giving me a little bit of trouble. Yeah. So that is how you need to evaluate. And also, the thing with the sun is, it's a sattva guna. It's like the biggest, it's a stellar biggest star, and so has to, it is your dharma, it's your, literally your truth. So this sun is going to make a lot of, it will help you to make a lot of reparations for all the negative karma accrued, early on, or even in your previous lifetimes, and it will turn up here now, you know. Then we come to the final stage, the old, the vriddhi, as the Sanskrit word for it is, the body fails to replace the old cells with as much vigor as it did in the good old days. That is Shani and Saturn's domain. So 50 years onwards, which, 50 years, the stage of sun is 50 to 70 years, 20 years it is, same as Venus, as much as Venus years. And then the Shani years is 50 years, literally Shani rules 50, which is starting from age 70 to 120. Remember, the Vimshottari Dasha is literally 120 years. That's the maximum age a person can live. And if he has more pending karma, then he has to come back another lifetime in a new body. And so the tamas graha, so it is of course tamas, because Shani is tamas. It is a karaka or the significator for age, old age, longevity, death, disease, all of that is comes under the purview of Shani. And how your 70 to 120, if you're lucky enough to live that long and ensure that all the karmas are done, then you will need a very strong Saturn. Of course, you will need a very good Saturn, So, again, that is how we need to evaluate. Now, there are some schools of thought that the nodes axis also are under this 50 years, and it also begins from 70 onwards. Ketu begins like from 100, but again, I need to find the shloka for it. But bear in mind, it also includes the nodal axis. Okay. So now the main thing also, we haven't, this is kind of like on a philosophical level, because the nodes, if you see the 7 stages, for the Naisargika Dasha, we have used only the body planets, that is planets which are the weekday lords, the weekday lords, Sunday, Monday, that sort of a thing, the weekday lords. So Rahu and Ketu don't particularly rule any weekday, and hence it is kind of questionable what whether they can really rule 70 onwards. But there are schools of Vedic thought that do say that Ketu is, because Ketu is a moksha karaka. Don't forget that. So moksha means, of course, we are going to kind of aim for, liberation. And so that has to, occur from in 90, 100 onwards. So now this is very much in keeping with the stages of life from the Vedic point of view, in as given by Manu Smriti. Manu was literally one of the first man, like equivalent of Adam, right? And he was in Manu Smriti. It has been, Brahma has laid down the laws for how human beings should live, ideally for their, so that they can work out all their karma, live happily, or fairly happily, and then they can exit the planet. So there are many stages, and there are the 4 fundamental stages, which are often depicted by the 4 kendras, in our chart, the 4 angular houses. Now the brahmacharya is 0 to 25. Brahmacharya, again, is, remember we said about Mars period, brahmacharya, Mars, Mangal is kind of a brahmacharya. That is, he is you know in terms of brahmacharya means somebody who's kind of celibate, who's not involved in too much of sexuality and things like that. Now, why 0 to 25 they recommend? Because these are the years of your learning and forming, and your mind is formed, your fundamental foundations are given here. So ideally, you don't want anything to, oops, sorry, I beg your pardon, you don't want anything to distract you. Hence brahmacharya is ruled, is ideally, you need to be in this period, then you need to be celibate. Then comes the grahastha, which is nothing but householder. You get married, you have children, you have, like, house, this, that, you're aiming for all kinds of luxuries and all that. That is very apt. That is a householder. It has to, you have to do that. That is your time. And so that has a tinge of rajas element. It has a tinge of moon element, which is, it is a Naisargika 4th house. So you're looking for properties to live, that kind of a thing. So that is all to do with the 4th house. Then we have the 7th house, which is the forest dwelling, vanaprastha, which is spiritual, highly spiritual, because the kids have flown the nest. Again, it's a kind of like you're trying to give up, whatever properties you have accrued. Maybe you are really rich, then you set up a trust fund for your children, and then you set up a trust fund for various charities and things like that. Fantastic. That's when you're willing to give up, because you don't need much to sustain yourself. And anyway, your diet has come down, in terms of your requirements for your diet and food and drinks, and all of that is much, much going to be minimized from now on. And vanapras vana literally means forest, or vanaspati, derived from vanaspati, and prastha is dwelling or about to go in there. So that is the time you sort of like enjoying nature, you retreat, kind of a thing. You're not giving up, you're still involved with the children's lives, but you're taking a step back, you're letting the other karmas of the children to fructify and let them go their own way. Then the final one is the sannyas, which is renunciate, where you're doing Vedanta, you're like chanting, like literally. And of course, the chanting Vedanta, the spiritual thing begins at the third stage itself. Ideally, this is a stage at age 50, which is a stage of Surya, sun, Naisargika Surya. That's when it's supposed to begin. And of course, sun is the dharma. Remember, we saw that. So that is how we evaluate. Then finally, like I said, sannyas is 75 onwards, you're total ascetic. You're trying to give up total attachments to anything or objects. Objects or any kind of, you're literally like going and living in an ashram. And your most of the time is spent like in satsang, like chanting and kind of hanging out and reading a lot of philosophical literature and ancient texts and that kind of a thing. That is what the rishis had given as the law in the text Manu Smriti, which is the laws of Manu. Okay, so now we come to how do we evaluate the planetary periods, the sub periods. That is what we are coming to. So we know that all planets have full aspect on the seventh house. So basically, I don't want to go too much into the antardashas, that is the sub periods, because there is, at the end of it, there is a calculation here. I've put it in a form here. I can send you these slides, put them up here if you want. But basically, suffice to say that if the Dasha Lord, that is whatever period you're in, let's say you're in the stage of, you're like 21, you're in a Mercury period, right? So that is the Lord of your Dasha, Mercury, right? And so the weight is given one, because there's a weighting system here, as for terms of like sub periods and things like that. So the Mercury period is from the age of, sorry, I beg your pardon, Venus period. Mercury period is from age 3 to 12, and from then on it's Venus period, which is 20 years. So then you are in, if you're 21, then you are in your Venus period. So Dasha Lord is, the weighted is one. If you have conjunctions, let's say with Venus, then that particular planet will get the sub period of it, will get 1/2 weightage. And similarly, planets which are in second from Venus, or 12th from Venus, or 6th from Venus, or 11th will get full weightage. So you notice that how the planets you calculate from the Lord of the Dasha. That is, if it is Venus period, then it will be from Venus, you look at all the planetary alignments. And if it is third and the 10th from Venus, then the weightage for those planets for sub period is calculated as 3/4. If it is in trines, then it's 1/3. And seventh house, so let's say you have Venus in Pisces and you are running the Venus period. And then, and if you have in Virgo, let's say you have, Saturn in Virgo, then that is aspecting your seventh house. So Saturn sub period will be 1/7. So one portion to the seven, weight is given to the planetary period for sub period for Saturn in the planetary period of Venus. Okay, so the order of Dasha is like this: the planets in Kendras 1, 4, 7, and 10 houses, followed by Panafara 2, 5, 8, and 11, and finally Apoklimas shall furnish the Antardasha, that is the sub period. So a planet in conjunction with Dasha Lord will rule half the period, that is 1/3 to the planets to Trikona. So let's say Venus is in conjunction with Mercury, then the Dasha Lord will rule half the period. So if Venus is in conjunction with Mercury. So that means the Mercury period, sub period, will be literally half the period. So like almost 10 years, so that is how you evaluate the the planetary period. But again, don't where the software does it. And if you do have any more questions, you can refer to this, and if you study it. But meanwhile, we'll take some charts and see what's going on. Any questions so far?
Yes, so now I have a question about the Shani. Actually, you say that retrograde planets give
Uh-huh.
reverse results. And for instance, if Shani is retrograde and one is running its Antar Dasha, what does it mean? What reverse results does Saturn carry?
1 minute. So the person is more than 70 years old?
No, why? No,
Because
not yet.
remember, Shani period, look, if we see the Shani period is 70 to 120 years old.
Yeah, but
Age,
uh,
sorry,
uh,
yeah, age, Sun is age 50 to 70 and Saturn is 70 to 120. So regarding this, are you talking of the Naisargika, or are you talking of generally?
I see. Yes, I think there is a confusion about that Vimshotri and Naisargika Dasha. They are different.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I've just explained
Yes,
to you.
that's why. Yes, yes. I got confused because because of that. Now I understand. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. But listen, coming back to your question anyway, for
Yes,
Vimshotri,
yes.
if you're running the Vimshotri, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's Saturn is retrograde, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, if Saturn is retrograde, you have to figure out what sign it is in retrograde, because it will give the results of the other, the opposite
In
sign.
Capricorn. Yeah, it is in Capricorn.
Okay, so it will give you the results as if Saturn is in Cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
then you have to evaluate where is Cancer in your chart. Is it your seventh house, which is good? If that is, if you're Capricorn rising, number one. Number two, if it is, now you have to understand that Saturn does not, you have to also see the lord of that seventh house. Saturn does not particularly like the moon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's because the karaka, it's completely different. Moon is much more flowing and feeling and touchy and feely and all of that. The moon is, our mind, psyche, and Saturn is all, and moon is a fast moving luminary. Saturn is 30 years, it's kind of takes to go around the whole zodiac, while moon covers the whole zodiac with, sorry, 30 years, while moon does it in 30 days. So you
Mm-hmm.
see, how different, just by the movement of Saturn and moon, how different they are, right? So Saturn is not exactly going to be very happy. But having said that, Saturn in Cancer is a big Raj Yoga,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if you, Saturn is going to give you results of Saturn in Capricorn, a to begin with, that, remember, we did this principle that s- planets in own sign are at tattva level, that is, they are with Lord Shiva, they are not with us here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they will be, the results of that will be given by planets which are in their exaltation sign. So Mars will give you the the results. You have to look to Mars for its results, number one. Remember that
Mm-hmm.
principle. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because Saturn is in Capricorn, it's the sign of Capricorn, the exaltation sign for Mars. So Mars, you have to see what Mars is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Then also, because it's retrograde, that means you have to do the Saturn karma this lifetime. You cannot leave it. Its retrograde is 3 times the strength. The planet
Mm-hmm.
has got
Mm-hmm.
huge strength. It will keep trying till it is done.
Uh-huh. Okay, I see. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Sorry, I have a question. Sorry, no, I have a question, please.
yes, go on.
Like referring back to the Rahu Ketu, if you got a Rahu Dasa, doesn't it take on the nature of the sign it's in as well? So say if it's in Taurus, it's gonna the Dasha will have a Venus flavor as well. Yes, is that right? Because they're shadow planets. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So any planet conjunct Venus, that would, if any planets conjunct the planet ruling that sign, that would have that planet would bring in that qualities as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
oh, let's see David Beckham. We all know David Beckham, right? Right?
Yes, we do.
Yes. So if you look at his Naisargika, Dasha, right? I've got it here. Can everybody see the Dasha?
Yes, we can, but actually, I think that not every application has got that Naisargika Dasha. At least I haven't seen one. That's why I got confused about Naisargika and Vimshotvi. This is the first time I have ever heard of that even.
Jagannath Hora has got Naisargika.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it'll have the Naisargika. It's a very simple dasha. It's, remember, like it's fixed. The planets are fixed. So, if you are age 50, then you've begun the dasha of sun. So you have to see what sun is doing. If you are age 32 to 50, you are in your Jupiter Naisargika. So you see that is fixed. It's
Yeah, and
nothing.
it's simple, yes.
Yeah,
And
it's quite simple.
Mhm.
Then the Antardasha calculation I've kind of referred to, if your planets conjoining it, and from the let's say you're in your Jupiter dasha, then if your planets conjoining Jupiter, then what is happening? And but that is again, like, don't bother with the calculation. It's the dasha system will do it for you, the software, I mean. So here, like I said, if you see here, Beckham's professional career began, made his first team debut in 92 at the age of 17. So if you see here in age 17, it comes to Venus, and in 1993, he goes into Venus, Mercury, which is the Mercury sub period. Can everybody see that? So
Yes.
1990 to 1993, he was in Venus period and Venus sub period. Yes?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So now let's see what is going on. Venus period, Venus sub period. And then he catapulted immediately after in 92 to onwards at the age of 17 with United. He won Premier League 6 times. And of course, he never looked back after that. I mean, he was off. If you look at he immediately after he entered Venus, Mercury. So you see, Venus is his Atmakaraka. Venus is also very strongly placed in Taurus. Can you see that?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Now, another thing, because Venus is in its own sign, who will give the results?
The moon? The moon?
No. Who's the exaltation? Sorry.
The moon? So now,
Sorry.
it will be the moon?
Okay. And where is the moon? Sorry. Yeah. Where's the moon?
10th house? In the career house, 10th house?
Yeah.
In Capricorn?
And yeah, that's quite good, isn't it? Is it not?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And it's trining Venus. That's beautiful, right?
Yes.
And immediately after, he went into the Venus Mercury. So if you see Mercury, and he never looked back after that. Mercury is his Dharakaraka, and it is in conjunction with Mercury. You see that?
Mhm.
So how long? So essentially what I'm trying to say is that that is how you evaluate planets conjoining Venus, or because he was in the Venus period, will give him very good results, because moon is also aspecting the Venus. It's in a very good shape. It's, the moon is in the 10th.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
everybody getting this? This is
Mhm.
really important. So you see, then you can predict very good stuff from Venus to Venus Mercury onwards, because Mercury is with Venus. It's very, very well placed. You know, does everybody's getting it? And he also got,
Sonal.
yeah, and he also met, I think, in then few years later, he met his wife, right? What's her name?
Victoria.
Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria Beckham, the Spice Girls, right? And they would be like non-stop, chatting and all that. So their alliances also began around this time. Venus Moon, sorry, Venus Mercury, and then the Venus Saturn came. So around all of that, then Venus Jupiter came. So you see, all of that is brilliant. And Venus, I don't know how, at what age did he meet his wife. I can figure, so sorry. I can have a look, if somebody can have a look, we can have a look at the later stage. But essentially, he got kids, he was with his wife, Victoria, all of that. And he had like loads, and started to get loads and loads of, from the Premier League and titles and all, in terms of financially, he started to go from strength to strength. And that is because Mercury is with Venus, and it is also the Darakaraka, right? Can you see that?
Okay.
Sonal.
Yeah.
So what's the connection with the moon in the 10th? Is it making a Rashi aspect to Venus? Is that what it is?
Yeah. Moon in the 10th. It's a 10th house planet. That's very, very strong.
Yeah, I know, but what's the connection to Venus? Is it because it's aspecting my sign to Venus? Yeah, is that what it is?
No, because you can't take Venus is in its own sign in
Yes,
Taurus. So the
yes.
principle is very simple. If Venus is in its own sign, you take the in that particular Rashi, what planet exalts in. That planet
Moon.
will give the results. Yes. So that planet
Mm.
gave the results, which is the moon in
Okay,
the 10th. The moon in the
sure, yeah,
10th is a very, very amazing placement, even though
yeah,
it is in the opposite Digbala. So
yeah.
there may have been problems maybe with his mother, or a few other things in the community and things like that, because the moon is Gyati Karaka. So those kind of little niggling issues would have been there. But the main thing
Sure.
is that he has a phenomenal that moon entrines with Venus, and moon is in a very, very positive way, you know
Yes, yes, okay, yeah, okay.
you see that.
Yes, but I had the same question. So as soon as this principle applies, that a planet is in its own house, and then you look at the moon in this case. So, and then you say that moon aspects Venus.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a good thing, right?
Okay. No, because I don't know. It doesn't aspect via via Rashi Drishti, and it doesn't aspect via Graha Drishti. So, but if this principle applies, you say it aspects Venus.
But it is aspecting by Rashi Drishti.
Ah, okay, okay.
Capricorn
Mhm.
aspects Taurus, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
That is a very clear Rashi Drishti.
Yes. Of course. Of course. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And see, the beauty about this is that because it's in a trine, that is very, very strong, you see. It's going to be very, very supportive.
Yeah.
I thought, sorry, no, I thought only Jupiter made trine aspects.
No. We are talking of the Rashi Drishti here.
Rashi Drishti, okay.
Yeah.
But it's significant how it's so powerful, even though it's in an enemy sign, you know.
What, the moon?
Yeah, Capricorn is it's in an enemy sign. Their natures are inimical. Isn't it an enemy sign in Capricorn?
Yeah, but moon in Capricorn is not, it depends on how it is, what it's doing. It gives him the stability and the forbearance, That's a very
Makes him
strong, yeah, go on.
makes him ambitious. Makes him ambitious, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Makes him ambitious.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And anyway, the moon in trines to Venus forms many other yogas as well. And it's in trines to Mercury and Ketu. So, he's known for his movement. He's very good with his movement and flexibility, which is what the south node of the moon and Mercury gives him, that flexible sense of flexibility. So yeah.
So if so the moon's in Capricorn, it's cardinal. If it wasn't doing a trine, it wouldn't be as beneficial, yeah? If it wasn't a trine aspect, it wouldn't be as beneficial, yes?
Oh, it's also very well placed in the 10th house,
Yes, okay. But if it wasn't making a trine to the Venus, Ketu, Mercury, if it was making another aspect, it wouldn't be as powerful, yes? Is that right? It
Yeah.
wouldn't give him the talent.
Yeah, it would not. If it was like, let's say in the 8th house, that wouldn't be very nice. Or if it was like 8th from Venus, that wouldn't be very nice. Here it is 9th from Venus, which is fantastic.
So generally, if something is ninth from something, that's a good aspect.
Yeah, it's
Ninth from something, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because
Jupiter. It's Jupiter.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the
Okay,
karaka
yeah.
for that is it's a protective aspect. So
Yes,
whatever
yeah.
lagna you have, let's say you have, if you look at the moon from if you look at the moon chart and from the 9th from there, you have quite a few planets. They will
Yes.
protect you, they
Yes,
will help you
yeah.
as a protector. They will give you that umbrella for, if you provided you do those activities or you do those, that dharma, because 9th house from anything is your dharma. Do you understand that on a very deep
Yes.
level?
Yes, yeah.
So
Okay,
you want
yeah.
to bring in more of the dharma, you want to bring in the more of the protection.
Yeah. Yes,
So you
yeah.
see, and don't forget that moon is also, Venus is his Atmakaraka. So all
Yeah.
this happened. So this is something he is destined from a previous lifetime. That Venus, in the Venus Dasha, he goes in and suddenly everything starts to change. You see? You understand that? Because Venus is his Atmakaraka. And 9th
Yes.
from the Atmakaraka will always protect you, will offer you protection.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Let's see few more charts. Let's think of, we know Oprah Winfrey, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, she was majorly abused. And there was like, her father was a coal miner. He went off at a very early age. The mother was like a servant in some kind of a company, in a cleaning company or something like that. She was like, kind of a maid or something. She would clean and all that. So she had very difficult time, the mother. So she went to live with her grandmother and then come back after that, brought back to, to her mother, who was pretty miserable. And so she literally, from her uncle, from the ages of 9 to 14, she was heavily abused, physically as well as sexually and emotionally. She was a riot. So here, if you see, we are talking of the age 9. So if you see, it is Mercury moon period, right? Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Now, look at where her moon is. Tell me what her moon is looking like.
It's in the 8th house.
The moon is in the 8th.
No. No, it's in Scorpio. Still getting confused.
Yes.
It's in Scorpio and it's in the 12th house.
Yeah. So you see,
12th house means like dying.
well, well, it's not really dying, but it's a Rudra yoga. It's with Mars, which is a Rudra planet, it's moon is with, end of the day, Mars is malefic. This is in the 12th house. Please see that it is in the 12th house. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, with dying, I mean, like maybe her childhood died in this moment, when she was abused.
What do
Her
you mean
childhood, like her childhood faded away in this moment.
Okay.
So
Right.
her childhood died.
Is that because it rules the fifth? Is that because it rules the fifth you're talking about? Rules the fifth.
The moon doesn't rule the fifth, guys.
No,
Come
I'm talking
on.
about Mars. Mars. I'm talking Mars rules the fifth.
Yes, yes, Mars rules the fifth. But end of the day, it is still, a malefic. I mean, Mars is in the 12th house. That's a difficult placement, and it's with a debilitated moon. The only redeeming feature is Mars is strong in its own sign, in Scorpio. So what that means is that this forms like a Rudra yoga, where you're going to cry and cry and cry. But after all that crying, something brilliant will come out of that. But you have to go through that suffering of crying. Rudra is Rud, to cry. So after that, things will get better. And so that is why I'm saying that if you see very closely, Mercury moon is when all her drama began. She herself has said that from the age 9 till 14, until she managed to escape through a job and things like that, and let's see what happened at 14. She went into Venous period. Where is Venus? Wow, it's with the sun, and it's with the Atmakaraka Rahu. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes. So she was then on a path. So you see that Mercury, even though it is her, it's all about a young age, she got really badly sort of abused. It wasn't nice, because also Rahu is a problem. Planets conjoining Rahu are going to give you a little bit of suffering. And also the Antardasha was the moon, where the moon is debilitated. Never forget the debilitation of planets. They will get you to suffer. Even though here there is a cancellation of debility, but still it is, end of the day, little bit hurtful. The moon is in its fall position. It will come out of it, but you still have to go through. Cancellation doesn't mean like it'll work like fantastic. That is not what cancellation means. Cancellation literally means like you will be able to come out of that suffering, and you will be able to make it good. But that doesn't mean it will cancel out all your suffering. That doesn't mean like that. Does everybody get this?
Yes.
But another thing, Sonal, the moon and the Mars are not friends. Doesn't Mars damage the moon? The Mars is hot and dry. The moon is cold and moist. So Mars
Yeah.
always damages the moon.
Absolutely. And even though, I mean, moon has no enemies, but yet, and Mars is very protective towards the moon. But Mars it's rough, to have that. But at least, because there is cancellation in its debility, that it's able to overcome it, or she's able to overcome the suffering that has been caused. Yeah, is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, so this is a few things I wanted to show you, and this is Paramahansa Yogananda. Now his chart is absolutely brilliant. He's the one who's like the preeminent spiritual figures of modern times. Absolutely phenomenal. The Autobiography of a Yogi, which has been like, one of the biggest selling, I think it's sold like some millions and millions of copies worldwide and translated in many languages, etc. And his guru, Paramahansa's guru was Guru. He talks about meeting of the Guru here, Sri Yukteswar, right? So here, at the age of 17, he wanted guidance, and Swami Yukteswar Giri was, he met his guru at the age of 17, and he had his well guarded amulet mysteriously vanished, having had served its purpose. This is from Wikipedia. And in his autobiography, he describes his first meeting with Sri Yukteswar as a rekindling of relationship that lasted for many, many lifetimes. We entered a oneness of silence, and words seemed rankest superfluous. Eloquence flowed in soundless chant from heart of master to disciple. With an antenna which is irrefragable, inside I sense that my guru knew God and he would lead me to him. So you see, this was like a momentous occasion for him at the age of 17, which is 1910. So if you look at this age 17, which is the Venus and Venus just before Venus Mercury, again we are talking about Venus. Now the thing about Venus is, he also around that time in 1914 he continued with his studies. And I think it was a degree in Bachelor of Arts. That is very much like a Venus thing, right? Very much a Venus thing. But if you look at his Venus, here are all the three charts. Let's examine his Venus. Wow. How did I pick all the charts which are Venus Atmakaraka? Or Atmakaraka is with Venus as well. So here, can somebody see this?
Yeah,
Venus
Venus
yes,
is in Dickball.
excellent. That's what I wanted to show you guys. Beautiful, well spotted. Now, there's also Parivartana, if you see.
Mars in Pisces. Is that exaltation or something?
Sorry, what? Which one?
Sorry, maybe I'm looking at Mars in Pisces, exaltation, rulership, Venus and Scorpio, Mars, Pisces.
No.
you're
We don't. No. We are not doing that. James. That is not. That's a Western astrology rule.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. No, there is one more Parivartana, guys. Come on. Let me give you a hint. It has something to do with the nodes.
Ketu.
Yes, got it. Ketu and
Ketu and Venus. Yeah.
yes, Ketu and Venus, or Ketu and
Mars.
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sorry, not Ketu and Mars. Sorry,
No.
what am I seeing? I think I'm going blind. So, no, you're right. There's just Ketu and Venus. I beg your pardon. I am going blind here. Okay. Yes. So it's Ketu and Venus. Absolutely. Did you spot that?
Yes.
So that is absolute transformation.
So,
Now-
but it's only a change of the rashis again, because the
Yeah.
Atmakaraka is involved.
Absolutely. It's very difficult. But you see, the thing with very elevated charts of great saints is that one has much more flexibility, you see, because he was no ordinary person. He was like the Paramahansa Yogananda, and I mean his contributions are phenomenal in terms of spiritual giant. And you see his meeting with Yukteswar Giri, his guru, completely changed his life and set him on a new path. So you see, the Venus is Atmakaraka, and Atmakaraka is your soul. It's your Atma, which is literally your soul. So, of course, something as big as meeting your guru from a previous lifetime who's come here to guide you. I mean, what could be more phenomenal than that? So, and that completely changed his entire life path. So he spent rest of his life till age 59, 60 being in America and traveling back and forth, but writing and promoting all the Vedanta and the autobiography. He wrote the Autobiography of Yogi, which was a completely a spiritual classic, which became a huge bestseller. It opened up the eyes of of the Eastern philosophy and Vedanta and Vedas to the Western civilization. So it was a momentous book. So you see, he had a very clear purpose. And if it wasn't for the guru, nothing would have materialized. And with that Venus as Atmakaraka in Digbal, what would he have done? Like bought a lovely house in America and then what? Ordinary life. But with his help of his guru, he's like gone down in, he will be remembered for many, many generations to come. So you
Yes,
see,
and he also has the moon in Lagna in Leo, so that's very strong.
yeah, and all avatars have moon in Lagna. A lot of the great yogis and spiritual people have always moon in Lagna. That is and it's almost in the same nakshatra as well. So if you see, his ascendant is 3 degrees Leo, and moon is also 3 degrees 8 Leo. So they are practically in the same nakshatra as well, you see. So that is a mark of a great, great saint, you see. So that makes it a huge difference, both of them in Maga. And, so yeah, indeed. So that is how you see it, you see. And then when he passed away, I think it was at the age of 59 or so, 58, 59. Yes, he was in Sun and about to go into Sun Venus. So basically, Sun is when he passed. So if you see the Sun, you know, it is the Lord of his ascendant, but it also kind of if you see the Navamsh chart, the sun is in the sixth house in debility in Libra, you see. So he didn't really want to kind of live for too long in terms of, planets in debility in Navamsha will give you a little bit of a rough time, especially if it is the sun, you know so that is definitely a big issue, you see. But you see how momentous completely change your life, momentous occasions and things like that, which are unique, which can be seen through the Naisargika. Because without the Naisargika, we wouldn't know that, Venus, okay, he would be get a good wife, we can predict that. But really, can be Venus is his Atmakaraka. It has to be connected to his soul, something momentous to do with his soul. And the dispositor of Venus is Jupiter, which is in trines with Venus. Sorry, and the Venus is in Ketu's sign, Do you see that?
Yes.
So that is extremely potent, So Ketu has to have some say in that Venus, and as well as Ketu rules Pisces. It's his Mool Trikona in Pisces. So it has to have some kind of a deep exploration, deep occult, deep mystical wisdom he has to bring about. Very strong mystical. He's a great mystic. Beautiful. And then yeah.
So Parivartana, do the planets actually in the Vedic system, do the planets actually move? Or do they just help each other by aspect, or do they actually move position, with Parivartana?
Well, it is, we have to evaluate it,
Mm.
We have to evaluate depending on whether it's Atmakaraka or not. It's a big evaluation on that. But anyway, we are up for time. Did people like this, or do you think it's like, oh no, let's just stick with Vimshotri?
No, that's a very good topic. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
So good.
so what I would like you to do is to think where your sun is, and for people who are 50 or about to be 50, what is happening? What happened at the age of 32 when you guys went into your planetary period, Naisargika period for Jupiter? And then say, what is Jupiter doing in my chart? Where is it placed? You know, did something really spiritual happen? Maybe Jupiter is your Atmakaraka. Does that make
I'm
sense? Yeah.
Yes, it does. I'm not 32, but I'm 37, and I don't like Jupiter. I have bad experiences with Jupiter for sure, but still, my Jupiter is in the 12th house.
Yeah.
It is in Sagittarius, if we take that Capricorn Lagna, and that's the case. But I
Is
wouldn't.
Jupiter your Atmakaraka?
No, my
No.
Atmakaraka is Mars.
Okay. So then, so terrible twos, huh? That's interesting.
Yes, so I feel the negative energy of that planet. Although it is considered beneficial, it is a benefit, but still, I have quite bad relationship with Jupiter.
Yeah. Okay. Because if you remember, were you there for the Secrets of the Ascendant?
No, just I wanted to ask where I can find that, and
Yeah, I
probably-
will send it to you. I will send it. We Akshat and I did that, and it has got some great mantras too. But one of the big things about Capricorn rising is it has a particular flaw or a dosha of Jupiter.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So that is why you say that it is not a very you're not comfortable with the energy, of course, because that is one of its problem areas, and the houses that it rules. So anyway, lovely guys.
I have a question. Maria, was that you who has Jagannatha aura?
Yes. Oh, yes. I use the Jagannatha Hora.
Okay, so maybe we can connect on Telegram so to find out where we can find this.
Okay. Okay, that's
thing.
fine. That's absolutely fine for me.
There is also, guys, Parashara light that you can use. Have you heard of Parashara light?
No.
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 But
That
as
is
for
also
that,
yeah.
okay. As for that, J horror, it requires a lot of different adjustments because it doesn't work properly if you don't make any necessary adjustments.
Yeah.
So what's
And there are
Parashara
some
Light?
there are
Is
some
that a
YouTube
program?
movies.
Sorry, one by one, guys. What? Sorry.
Yeah, as for adjustments, probably you can see some of them are given on YouTube channels. Some astrologers give, but I don't know if Sonal can recommend that or not. But I don't use that horror thing much because.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So do you use, I mean, you guys can buy Sri Jyoti Star, but that is,
Yeah, that's the best.
yeah. Do you have it?
My teacher, my Jyotish teacher has got that. I use Cosmic Insights.
Yeah. A lot of people, yeah, because I use that, you see. So for me, that is very clear that is what. Anyways, guys, so here we are. So we are ending, and maybe we will have one last class on curses and wrap it up for the year. Yeah.
Okay.
So is
Yeah.
that if you have any questions, put it in the Telegram group. Oksana, I need to. So did you manage to get your chart in Sri Jyoti Star, Oksana?
No, I didn't.
Okay, I will do that. So if anybody wants, let me know. I will put all of the charts, just send me your details privately and I'll just put them up with a lot of the panchang details and stuff like that on the Telegram group.
Yeah,
Okay.
I have sent
Okay.
it
Yeah, I
Askara
know
did.
you've
Mhm,
sent it, but
mhm.
is it okay if it can be posted in the Telegram group?
No
Yes,
problem.
Yeah.
yes, yes. It's okay.
Okay, lovely. So, so do
Sonal,
feel free, and thank you very much.
Thank
Sonal,
you.
Sonal,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sonal, sorry,
Yes.
Sonal.
Yes.
I've tried to join the Telegram group. How could you send me a link, please?
Okay, that's fine. I'll send you the link.
And could you email me because I've lost your email, Sonal at 108 Gmail or something. I've lost your email.
Okay. Lovely. Thank you, James. I will.
The Parashalite, is that a program?
Yes,
Parashalite.
that is also a program. So,
And you can download it, can you?
yes, indeed.
Is it LA? How do you spell it? LAGT or LATE? How do you spell it?
I have no idea. I think LIGHT. Yeah.
Okay. And you
Hi,
can download it.
we have Dalmina here. Dalmina, hi. No, okay. Okay, guys, bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye, Oksana. See you soon, guys.
See
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye for now.